welcome to my video. So, here's another video of me talking about Gentoo, and some reason my audio is was muted. Well, anyways, so yeah, I'm still using Gentoo, and I'm gonna stick with Gentoo, but I also use Arch Linux, so I have two systems on all my computers actually. So all the computers I use, I have like two hard drives. So basically, I have one that's Gentoo, one's Arch Linux, and these are my two favorite systems, and I like both of them. And I don't know why people make comments about, oh, he went from Pop! OS to Gentoo. Now let him see him go on OpenBSD. These kind of comments and smart ass remarks are just stupid. Like, I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but I think these comments are stupid. Like, straight up stupid. Because there's I don't really have to prove anything, to be honest. And I know like this video here is gonna be a little twist. So I'm gonna start off the video of basically saying I've been using Linux since probably the late 90s, more so from 2000 and on till now. I've been using Gentoo. I actually heard about the first original Gentoo, which was called Enox Linux, back in the late 90s, mainly 1999. I heard more about Gentoo in around 2001, 2002. I have used Gentoo when it first released in 2002. It was a new system at the time, and I actually was looking for many alternative Unix-like desktop systems, which they had this open source webpage back in the day where they list a lot of like all like free and open source like operating systems that they're called alternative operating system, basically saying like anything alternative from Windows or Mac OS, which are the most common used desktops systems. So these were like open source systems. A lot of them were. It actually had BEOS at the time before it was Haku, or Haiku, or it's called. And they had QNX and a lot of different types of systems. I remember seeing there's just some RISC OS systems as well. There was Amiga systems, but they were like open source version of them that you could test out. They had a bunch of Linux desktops and BSD as well. And for one thing, I saw Gentoo, and I remember Enox Linux, and because I actually took a lot of interest in this system at the time. Because Daniel Roberts, or Robbins, or his name is it Robert or Robin? I don't remember. Let me see here. I don't want to butcher his name. So Daniel, Daniel Robbins. Sorry, not Roberts. There's an actor called Julia Roberts. I was thinking of that last name. It's Robbins. Daniel Robbins. That's the main creator of Gentoo. He's a programmer from New York City or New York. I'm not sure if it's New York City, but he's in New York State. So what happened is that he was working on it, and I guess he had a lot of problems. He had a system that wasn't functioning properly, so he eventually put on FreeBSD, and he was playing around with that, and because he wanted to put some ideas into his system, because he liked FreeBSD a lot, and he liked how the port system works and all that stuff. He liked a lot of because a lot of the features that BSD had, you don't see it on Linux, right? You have these, you have Debian, you have all these other like different package manager, RPM and deb packages, and he liked the more like the ports kind of style, like the source base, you know what I mean? So basically, he took a lot of ideas because he'd been using FreeBSD for a few months, and you're just taking ideas, and a lot of the ideas like portage and the name changed to Gentoo, which is the the most like powerful penguin or stronger penguin or big penguin. I don't know. It's they call it a Gentoo. It's a penguin of some sort, and or I guess like one of his friends told him to like call the system that, and basically he did. So and it still remains Gentoo. So basically, Gentoo got released, Portage got developed. A lot of the ideas came from FreeBSD, also NetBSD as well, with the use flags and all that. That's a lot of it to do with NetBSD. Also, OpenRC was a NetBSD project and was given to the Gentoo people because NetBSD didn't want to they were gonna scrap it, and Gentoo took over it, and they said, "Yeah, sure, take over the project." They were okay with it. So OpenRC was given to Gentoo by the NetBSD team, and basically, so OpenRC had been with Gentoo for years, and now you could set up with systemd, which I set up my Gentoo with systemd, and it's not because I don't know how to use OpenRC, because I have used Gentoo and it's always been with our OpenRC. It's just the fact that I just been used to using systemd, that every distribution comes with systemd, or the majority of distribution, as I say, comes with systemd, because not every distribution does, but I'm saying like 95% of the distributions come with systemd. So I just got used to using systemd. And yeah, so I used a lot of Gentoo back in the day, and also Arch Linux. I started using Arch Linux since 2007, 2006, maybe later, around 2007. I use Arch Linux, not hardcore, but I have used it a bit. I don't know. I use a lot of systems. Pop! OS is not a system like I don't know that common, like, cause I barely ever use Pop! OS. I used it for like a month last year, and I used it a little bit in the past, but I never really been a Pop! OS user. I never owned any System 76 computers. Um, Not really a big fan of them, to be honest. I don't know about their new desktop. I hope they do a good job, because Linux does need a really good desktop. So if they can make a really decent desktop, Pop! OS desktop, Cosmic, I probably might use it. If it's like universal, like if all distributions can use it, then that's cool. But right now I'm using KDE, even though it's still buggy. Even KDE is a buggy mess. It's buggy even like the stable version. And I was thinking about going on XFCE4. I said that in my previous video. Then I started thinking to myself, all right, yeah, nice. I got my I got my stage 4 done. So like I was thinking about going on XFCE4, but I realized I'm like, I don't know. Something about XFCE4, I don't like their panel. I just think their panel is not really great, to be honest. And I don't know. I mean, if I'm gonna use like something like XFCE4, I'll probably rather just use Flexbox or OpenBox, to be honest, because it's very similar. And I think that OpenBox, for one thing, you can actually use other panels like Polybar, and Fluxbox actually has their own panel. I think Fluxbox actually is better than XFCE4. I could personally, I'd rather use Fluxbox over XFCE4, and I find it very similar systems. And if I'm gonna use something like XFCE4, I'm probably better off using LXQT, which I can use OpenBox as a window manager in the backend, and have actually I should actually install LXQT. Um, yeah, that would be a good idea actually. I think they have a nice panel. It's very lightweight. It uses OpenBox as their window decoration. Hmm. You could also use the way K1 if you want to as well. Yeah, I don't know. I like KDE, but I don't know what's wrong with your lock screen. They need to fix that. Um, Maybe it's just on my end. I don't know, but I seem to have lock screen problems on all my computers. It's not just one particular one. Even on the, I thought it was like the beta that was the problem, but it does like, I don't know, lock screen. I don't know, something odd about KDE. I don't know. It's like it's very, it's not totally stable. Like Gnome, as much as I know it missing some features like the system tray, desktop icons, and all that stuff. But I will say one positive thing about Gnome, and I'm not a Gnome fanboy or anything, but I'll say one positive thing about it. Um, it's very stable, very stable. You go to lock screen, locks perfectly, blanks out. Roll your mouse, unlocks, unblanks. You can type your password, logs in, you get back to your system. Works perfect. I gotta say, GNOME works really good. It's very stable. And yeah. But the UI of GNOME, it's no, I'm not a fan of it, to be honest. I'm not a fan of this mobile tablet looking system. I'm not a fan of it. If you're gonna do something like that kind of system, they should actually really look at Mac OS and actually make a system very similar to that. Because Mac OS has a lot of similar features of GNOME, but Mac OS has Stage Manager, which is really cool. Uh, Also, they have just a really nice desktop, a better top panel, and they actually have a dock that you can see on the desktop, and they have icons on the desktop. And Gnome does not have this. They have a dock, but you can't see the dock at all. It's hidden unless you go to the overview, then you can see it, which I think is stupid. They shouldn't hide the dock. Like, what are you thinking, guys? Like, when you're developing your desktop, who in your right mind y'all just agree on? Let's make a dock, but we'll hide it. It's like you gotta always go to the overview to get to your dock. Like, how is that productive or multitasking? How is that great? What's the like? I don't even consider like, what's the point of the dock if you can't really get to it quickly? Like any panel bar, you can get to it right away. So like that's the whole point of a dock. Because a dock is basically taking over your panel, because your other panel is on the top, which has your clock, your system tray, and all that stuff. Oh yeah, they took all that out. So I don't know. The UI concept, what they're trying to do, they took away and minimize, maximize button. They just have a close button. Like it's designed for tablets. It's not designed for PC. I don't know why all like server systems use GNOME, but the desktop interface is nothing to do with desktop. It's just you use the you look at it and it's like this is a tablet system because it does not look like a desktop. It does not feel like a desktop. It does not function like a desktop. It's missing a lot of desktop features, and the features that they have for desktop is all hidden. So yeah. Anyways, I'm not gonna use GNOME. It is stable. I'll give them that. KDE has everything great about it. The nice desktop. You can customize it. You can do a lot with KDE, but it's kind of rough. So I hope the devs really fix a lot of things in version 6, because as even version 5 is pretty buggy. It's supposed to be stable, but I don't know who say, yeah, hey, it's buggy as hell, but we'll call it stable release. I don't get it. But anyways, it's Linux. Things always break or things always working buggy. Can't complain when you get free stuff, right? I don't know. I don't hate KDE. I actually find KDE probably my favorite desktop until I find a better desktop environment. I'm thinking, I keep saying this, I might check out Hyperland. I'm really, I want to play around with Hyperland, but the thing about Hyperland is that it depends on Wayland, right? And I use an NVIDIA graphics and non-free drivers, and Wayland with the drivers and NVIDIA, it's not really the best thing to combine together, but I hadn't tried Hyperland yet on Wayland with NVIDIA. But I should look into Hyperland. It looks pretty interesting. I quite like it. But I don't really want to go back to tiling window managers. I do like tiling systems, but I don't know. I like more stacking. I don't know. Just more. I like a desktop. I think KDE is perfect desktop. I just wish it was more stable. But anyways, I'm really enjoying Gentoo a lot. I think Gentoo is a great system, and I'm actually gonna put Gentoo on my B-Link as well. I have a spare SSD on there. I took it off. I had it on there before. I took it off, but I made a new stage 4. I want to test it out on that. And my stage 4 is 25.5 gigabytes, I think. Let me see here. 25.6 gigabytes. It's not bad. That's my whole system. Like the system here you see right here is all in this little tarball. And I can just unzip it onto another partition. I can set up I set up a XFS partition um, and a boot EFI partition, and basically untar this into the root of the XFS system, and basically run the Gen FS tab with the live ISO of Gentoo because it has it on the ISO, and basically reinstall Grub and then restart the system and boot her up. She's ready to go. That's what I love about Gentoo, because source-based systems are very portable and you can migrate it on any hard drive, which is very convenient. A backup of stage 4 of Gentoo is very convenient. You could actually preserve that stage 4 and then resurrect it like 7 years later down the road. It will still work. It will still work. It'll still boot up. Gentoo is awesome. I love it. You don't see that stuff in Arch Linux. Arch Linux has good things with their Pacman. I do like Pacman. The AUR system, I have ups and downs, like trusting issues with AUR. I don't fully trust it, but Arch Linux is a good system as well. I won't lie, but I do prefer Gentoo. Um, I don't like setting up Gentoo. The first time setting up Gentoo, like the manual way and all, it is it's fun to do at first, but it gets kind of tedious after a while. But that's why you just do one manual system, set it all up nice and good. Then you do a stage 4. You make stage 4, and then basically you back it up, and then you basically keep your system always on a stage 4. So that way, you don't have that manual setup again. That's basically how I set up my Gentoo. I do it once. I do the whole manual configuration once, and then the rest of my Gentoo setups are all stage 4 because it saves a lot of freaking time. Believe me, it does. And when you have more than one computer to put Gentoo on, stage 4 is actually very convenient. And yeah, that's what makes Gentoo really great. That's one of the things Gentoo's great. Gentoo's stable. I find the system works really good. I like their package manager. I like everything about Gentoo. Like I'm saying, like everybody has their favorite distribution, and I do love Arch Linux a lot, and I've been using Arch Linux for many years. But over the years, I've been peeking at Gentoo as well. I just never really use it because for the longest time, I've been a very big hardcore Arch Linux user. I mean, for a long time. That's why I try out other systems. Like, oh, I used to use Ubuntu. Actually, I do test out every single Ubuntu release every year since the first version in 2003 or 4. Well, I've been testing out Ubuntu every single release from the beginning of the first release, and I do that every year because that's just a tradition I've been doing since Ubuntu been around. Fedora as well, because I used to do the exact same thing with Fedora, as you may notice in my older videos that I don't have anymore. But I do a lot of videos on testing out Fedora and Ubuntu. But this time around, this year, I'm going to be doing it in VMs because, well, I do not want to put it on my hard drive because that spare disk now it's my Gentoo system. And I'm going to stick with Gentoo. And I'm going to see if I have my virtual box still here. Yeah, I do, actually. And it's not pinned on my bar. Well, I should pin it. There you go. I do have VirtualBox installed. That's great. So yeah, I can do some testing with other operating systems. I want to test out Pop! OS this year as well. They're supposed to have like a release or like a beta release of their Cosmic Desktop. I want to test. I want to see what they have. I think they're going to be having like a alpha or beta release soon with that. So yeah, I know I'm not a Pop! OS user, but I'm really curious about the Cosmic Desktop. I have mixed feelings with it, but I want to test it out and give my opinion on the desktop. Once it goes out to the public, I want to give my personal opinion about it. My opinion doesn't always matter, but I just put it out there anyways, because maybe people like to hear my opinions. Who knows? But anyways, I like desktop design. I use to Rice computers a lot, so I'm really an artistic sort of person when it comes to like the GUI, the UI, the color schemes, the theming. I'm a big nerd into that. I've been doing that for years. When I was a kid, like even in the 90s, I used to use window blinds for Windows. And I used to like theming up Windows all the time, doing all kinds of different themes. And I still love doing that. And that's why I love Linux, because you have these desktop environments where you can just rice it and theme it up and customize it and make a desktop look so cool and unique. Like I used to play around with MCWM and these other like very like CWM and yeah, like borderless like window box stacking systems. I really like MCWM. I was pretty a big fan of MCWM. I never used that really heavily. Um, yeah, those are good old days. I used to use MCWM on FreeBSD back in the day, and also MCWM on OpenBSD as well. And I use CWM on OpenBSD as well. I remember using these two window managers a lot on OpenBSD. Yeah, it's been a long time I hadn't tried OpenBSD. Maybe I should try it out, eh? I'm kidding. I'm not going to use OpenBSD, but I will be playing around with FreeBSD because I like FreeBSD. And I should check out NetBSD because it's been a while. It's been a while. I hadn't played around with package storage in years. I miss package. I think the last time I played around package source was with Open Indiana. You never remember Open Indiana? You guys even know what that is? Well, anyways, thanks for the watch. Have a good one, guys. Cheers.